Hey guys, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video on the tropics. And so in this video we're going to be talking about five systems in the Atlantic basin. We have a newly formed tropical storm Nicholas in the Gulf that is a threat to portions of the Gulf Coast, and we also have four other disturbances to talk about. And so before I go into details, okay, and so let us kickstart things with our disturbances. So first up is Invest 93L, and so we're seeing here that there is a 20% chance for us to have potential development of this disturbance, and actually it is becoming less and less likely that we will have a tropical cyclone developing because the chance is decreasing. It was at a high 70% yesterday, and now here we have it being downgraded to 20%. So it is unlikely that we will have a tropical cyclone, but regardless, it is going to be bringing some inclement weather to portions of the Cabo Verde Islands. So if you're there, you're probably experiencing some rainfall, maybe some cloudy skies as a result of this disturbance, but it will more than likely just dissipate as it makes its way westward. And so now let's take a look at another disturbance. So a non-tropical low pressure area up into the northeast Atlantic, and yes, we could have development even being that far in latitude. So it is possible for us to have a subtropical storm developing there. I believe Alpha from last year developed in a similar region, so it is certainly not impossible for us to have some development, and we definitely have to watch this as time goes by and see what is going to be the eventual outcome. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have some rapid development, because sometimes these subtropical systems, they tend to come on very, very quickly. So we can have it being at a low chance in the morning, and by night we have a tropical cyclone dealing with, our subtropical cyclone rather. So it is certainly not impossible for this to develop. So we'll have to watch it and wait and see what's going to be the eventual outcome. And so next, let us go ahead and take a look at this next disturbance here. So it is yet to emerge off the coast of Africa, and there is a 60% chance that we could have development taking place off this as it makes its way across the main development region. And so this chance is increasing. So even by this afternoon, we could have the chance raising up to 70% for this to develop into a tropical cyclone. So I would say there's a chance that it might be a Caribbean threat, but it seems as though this thing here is going to be making its way north of the Caribbean. So we have to wait and see what's going to be the eventual outcome with it. One thing for sure is that maybe by the midweek we could have a depression developing and possibly even a tropical storm or hurricane once conditions are quite favorable to support that. And so finally, let's look at our fourth disturbance, and then we'll move on to Nicholas. So as you're seeing here, there is a 50% chance that we could have development of a tropical cyclone. So we're expecting that a low pressure area is going to be forming within that zone. So that's why you're not seeing that X as yet, because that low pressure area has not yet developed. But once it does so, we will see the X to show its location. And if you're along the East Coast, you want to keep an eye on this, because this thing here is likely to develop in the vicinity of the Bahamas and makes its way up north, being very close to the coast of the US. So please ensure that you're keeping an eye on this, and hopefully this will stay offshore. So we could have some development of this by the latter part of this week, or I would say even early next week or so. It depends on when we have that low pressure system developing, guys. And so now let's move on to Tropical Storm Nicholas. So here we have it on satellite view. Here we're seeing in the Gulf of Mexico. There we have it. So the storm is not so organized right now, but it is getting in shape. And so data from the aircraft that was investigating the system confirmed that we actually have tropical storm force winds in sections of it. And so here we have it now being designated as a tropical storm. So this one has developed quite rapidly here. And so now let's go on to the cone forecast for it. And so here we have it, and Nicholas has winds of 40 miles per hour, and it is accelerating to the north-northwest at 13 miles per hour. So we have a tropical storm warning as well as a tropical storm watch that is in effect for portions of the Gulf Coast. So we have a tropical storm warning that is highlighted in blue being in effect for the mouth of the Rio Grande to Port Aransas in Texas, and for Barra El Mezquital to the US-Mexico border. And we have a storm surge watch that is in effect for the mouth of the Rio Grande to High Island, Texas, and a tropical storm watch which is highlighted in yellow that is in effect for the north of Port Aransas to High Island in Texas. So areas that are under a tropical storm warning can expect tropical storm-like conditions within about 36 hours or so, and those under a watch for the next 48 hours or so. So areas that are under a tropical storm watch are likely to be in a warning zone probably by the next 12 hours. And Nicholas is expected to remain a tropical storm throughout its lifetime, and the maximum sustained winds that are anticipated from the system are expected to be around 65 miles per hour, which would make it a strong tropical storm probably at the time of landfall in Texas. And then this is going to be rapidly weakening once it is going to be making its way inland, because of course it is cut off from all that fuel that it would have been getting if it was over warm ocean water. So without that, we're going to be having some weakening, and by the end of this week it is likely to become post-tropical over the eastern side of Texas. But even though it is likely to dissipate once it moves inland or rapidly weaken, we could have the remnants producing some very heavy rainfall in portions of the southern US. And so guys, now let's take a look at how conducive conditions are and the potential for Nicholas to become a hurricane. So looking at the ocean temperature map, we're seeing here that sea surface temperatures are quite warm in the vicinity of the western Gulf of Mexico, where Nicholas is located, and we're seeing even 31 degrees. So we have very, very favorable ocean temperatures to support this cyclone to rapidly intensify. But the inhibiting factor is the wind shear. So let's take a look at the shear map. And so we have the different colors here, meaning different shear intensities. So we have the green, that means favorable, the yellow means neutral, and the red means unfavorable. And so taking a look at the Gulf of Mexico, we have some unfavorable shear that is extending across most of the Gulf. So we don't have that very favorable shear, because if we had that, there would be no doubt that we would have a hurricane probably at the time of landfall. But because of the shear, thankfully, it is going to keep Nicholas as a weak tropical cyclone as it's going to be making its way up to the north. And so guys, in terms of our list of names to be used for this hurricane season, we just have around 7 names remaining on the list for this hurricane season. So if we should have more storms after Wanda is used, then we would have to go to the auxiliary list. And so if you're curious about the new auxiliary list, here it is, and the first name on that list is Adria. I believe that is the correct pronunciation. And remember that this list is replacing the Greek alphabet, which was used as the initial auxiliary list, but because of how things were devastating last year with Eta and Iota and the whole retirement issue, they just retired the entire Greek alphabet as a whole as the auxiliary list and has replaced it with a list comprised of normal names. So let's say, for example, Caridad is a very devastating hurricane that made landfall, caused a lot of destruction. Then Caridad would easily be retired and replaced with another name of the same gender. And so guys, that is really it for this update video on the tropics. So again, Nicholas is headed to the Gulf Coast. It is an imminent threat and will be bringing some dangerous conditions, that very heavy rainfall, that storm surge, and those gusty winds. So please take necessary precautions and stay safe if you're to be affected. And it is possible that we could have more storms by the end of this week. And so if you found this video to be quite informative, please give a thumbs up, and you can also share your thoughts with me in the comments or as a question. I will try to respond as best and as soon as I can. And just remember to always be weatherwise.